I worked in Redmond for 9 years, and during those 9 years, I wrote a lot of code. And 91, a group of 5 of us created COM, which became, of course, revolutionary technology in the industry. Then I spent a lot of time creating the Office shared feature team. So 3 or 4 of us got together and created the Office shared feature development team. Now majority of the work in Microsoft Office product happens in that group. So for the last 10 years, I've been in India, switched to management. So I haven't been writing much code. So what I'll spend time on talking about a high-level conceptual overview about the new era and how as a company we're thinking about it. Specific details about Atoms, RESTful APIs, RSS feeds, and everything. So there are technical experts who are going to cover them during the next 2 days. So before I talk about how the future looks like, so one of the things I want to do is take a step backwards and see how the whole industry has evolved over the many years. So if you go all the way back, we are starting from the mainframe, starting with punch cards, and later moved to terminal access, which is mostly character-based input mechanisms. We switched to mini computers, and then the whole PC era started. So nobody predicted how successful, how powerful the personal computer is going to be. So it's been a huge phenomenon. So that's when, for the first time, if you give the tools to the individuals and how it drives the imagination of the people and how it drives the whole ecosystem, we could basically visualize that. Then after that, every step of the way, 1995, internet. So many more people started getting into the computing fold and started accessing World Wide Web. So one of the key drivers, I believe, at the time for this whole massive explosion was the simplicity with which it was presented to the novice computing users on making it incredibly easy to access the tremendous amount of content that's available on the web. So the simple metaphor of basically searching and then clicking on a link and going back. So through these 3 or 4 user interface interactions, the whole World Wide Web and the power of World Wide Web was opened up to many people who never used computer before. That drove the massive explosion in computer usage. So later is when the different trends started taking place. So one of the things I want to highlight before going there is the whole importance of compatibility. Can you get the slides? So when we were doing COM in 91, there were 2 methodologies and models. We were taking the approach saying that there's a huge investment that companies, software developers, and end users have made in a kind of experience, product, and investments that they make in solutions around those products. So there was another proposal model at that time, OpenDoc, which was about, okay, let's throw everything out, start from scratch, have a model where everything is a DLL, and then you build systems around that. Obviously, COM has become very successful because we evolved the investment. We evolved the people from where they were. Basically, we enabled for the first time inter-application communication by not asking them to rewrite the whole thing. The whole investment and the developer skill set, the industry and businesses investment was protected, but we introduced a whole new opportunity, opened up a whole new paradigm. So that's the evolutionary innovation model you have consistently seen that we've been doing as a company. Same thing you would have noticed during 1995 about when the internet explosion took place. We were able to say, how can we embrace the new paradigm and integrate very extensively into everything that we do in a company? So that's what we did, which is where we're able to take their experience and expertise and then open up new avenues for businesses and computing professionals. So that's one of the key things, the fundamental models repeatedly as a company we've been doing, which is very, very, very critical, because we can't go tell all of you saying, forget about what you learned, start this learning this new technology. It's a huge investment. So it has to be evolutionary, but you need to be embracing the new technology transformations and innovations. Oh, I have to search. So one of the things is, when you look at the new world, basically there are three elements. There's content, commerce, and community. So the most important thing is new world, how do you engage the audience? How do you bring to, whether your website, portal, or your community forum, how do you bring the audience, get them stay with you, with that forum, so that there's a rich interactions can take place, and the people would like to keep coming back. So that's the most important first step of audience engagement that we need to think about. So obviously, so if we talk about content, commerce, it's been there before, but over the last 3, 4, 5 years, there's a slow shift evolution that you're seeing. There's a huge amount of participation in content generation through community. So through linking, tagging, rating, reviewing, and also user-generated contents. So it's enriching every community that's out there. And then the communities which are able to engage the audience very well are the ones which are becoming very, very popular. So even in the commerce, people started leveraging, instead of putting just products out there and with their own, specialist reviewer giving some kind of a feedback about the product, they're letting the end users who buy the products and give the feedback. So that's the rating system is introduced. It's an integral, inherent part of any commerce site these days. So that's also a very, very important development that took place. So the key is about having and basically involve the whole consumer mass and then get the power of collective thinking. So this is the most important aspect, the shift that we're seeing. So once you have that, it's about search has already demonstrated what a powerful monetization model that is out there, and it's going to continue to increase. And when you look at advertisement business, if it's 40 billion today, it's expected to double in the next 3 years, become 80 billion in the next 3 years. So and it's going to continue to grow, because if you look at advertising market, it's trillions and trillions of dollars business. So which is all kinds of mediums, right? Absolutely, there'll be a transformation towards more and more online and digital advertising. So the actual market is huge. So it's all about, so to drive the advertisement revenue, of course, you need to get these engaging portal sites, communities, whatever you want to call it. So that's the most important aspect. So, sorry, yeah. Press. I'm learning this. Okay. Oh, I got it. So there are 3 guiding principles we want to talk about, which is when you think about the future. So Ray Ozzie, our chief software architect, is basically been for the last couple of years working with all the technical leaders, all the business leaders in the company, and then pulling together a collective thinking on how do we design ourselves for the future. So then came up with the 3 guiding principles. So which is going to fundamentally define how we approach the new era. So one is what he calls web is the hub. So when you look at it, there are 2 interesting things that are taking place. One is the whole social phenomena. So previously it used to be group-based communication, which is through emails, through basically developer, the forums that you go to, where you are engaging with an audience which are broad-based, versus now these social networking phenomena that's taking place, which is giving you your own personal set of community, which gives a subtle nuance around this, which is over a period of time, you have evolved a group of people that you interact with. Collectively, you have an opinion about many different things. So that power of collective thinking, that is what is the important aspect. Leveraging that is critical in the new design of products or technology that we think about. The other aspect is, of course, there are various different types of devices through which we are accessing contents. So almost everyone in the developed world has a PC and a mobile phone. And many homes, they have now basically media center, and then you have home networking servers and various, and that's music players. So when you have various different sets of devices that you're interacting with on a day-to-day basis, there is an expectation that my preferences, the content that I use, and the applications that I use should be available in any one of these things in a seamless manner. I should not be thinking about for each device specifically doing these operations. And suppose I also get information shared by my friends who are in my social network. So I should be able to have that accessible from many different devices that I work with. So these are the two important phenomena, which is basically the social mesh and the device mesh. How do you keep in mind these two things when you design new products and services and offerings? So that's very, very important trend that's taking place. So the other thing is about connected entertainment. So when you buy music today, you buy for one device. Instead of that, it should be, if you're buying the music for yourself. So that should be, you should be able to use it, consume it on any device that you own or any device that you access. It could be going to a kiosk and through accessing through a kiosk too, but you have the rights already to that content. So how can you make it accessible? So this is where things like Xbox Live, Zune, and Zune Social, and all these things are basically defining this new model. So this is going to be a very important change. And then the third thing is about connected productivity. So we have been familiar with, of course, desktop-based application usage model. People have grown to be familiar with very rich user interfaces, very extensive functionality. But today, if you go to the web, so you have to dramatically tone down basic set of features. It need not be that way. How can you have the content that you create on the desktop computer be available through the web, through the mobile phone, and other devices, being able to make in a rich way, the content should be visible in a rich way, and then being able to make a set of relevant changes, may not be the full extensive functionality, but set of relevant changes, and then being able to round trip, maintain fidelity, all those things are important aspects. So we should be designing our products, being able to deliver that kind of expectations. So the next thing is about power of choice. Let me take some water. Business. Basically, today's model is we have on-premise installed basically infrastructure, which, oh, where's that one? Infrastructure. So the trends that are taking place is virtualization is enabling you to leverage the big data center kind of investments and then create the virtual, it could be operating environment, virtual line of business scenarios where you can leverage the computing power in a more effective manner. So the trend started happening. Once that happens, you can visualize the scenario where you can take it to the web, cloud-based infrastructure services, being able to provide similar model, and then which can lead towards utility computing. So the previous model is about how can I have an infrastructure on-premise which basically the focus is on scaling it up continuously. Then the future model is about how can you scale it out and then deliver a utility computing at a lower cost, and then people have to pay exactly the amount of computing resources that they need. They have to pay only for that. So, and then as the business becomes successful, as the business starts scaling up, they can scale up the usage of the resources. So that is the trend that we are going towards. So the question is about how do we give choices to the businesses. So some people prefer the on-premise installations. Others would want to, let's say a small business kind of scenario, would want to start with cloud-based infrastructure, and as they grow as a business and start investing appropriate to the growth of the business. There's a third model, in-between model, which is about how can you have the services which are on-premise but managed specifically for that specific enterprise. So these three various different flavors should be enabled. So the key is, at the end of the day, the enterprise wants build on top of the rich functionality that they have today. Not like throw that away and start from, okay, because I want to do web-based, so whatever is available, limited functionality, let me start with that. So no one would want to think that way. They want to think, but I have this rich set of functionality that's available, and I also want to get the benefit of access from anywhere, or I also want to get the benefit of scale out. So as I grow, and then it can be easily, without investing upfront, as I scale my business, I can benefit from the scale out functionality. So this is a decision that each business can individually make, because all three different computing models are available to them. So this is another important thing to keep in mind. So if you, on the left side, if you look at, okay, here. On the left side, if you look at, basically we have existing model where on-premise scenarios, you have Windows Server-based infrastructure, and we have Visual Studio, which enables you to build various different enterprise class applications, and we have database, and we have BitStock server. So for each one of these things, the online equivalent are going to be available or in the works. So we'll have cloud-based infrastructure services. Same Visual Studio the expertise that you guys have built up can be leveraged to build applications in the new computing model. And then we have announced SQL data services, and then BitStock servers, and then SharePoint Online, all these things. So that is the model that we're going to have on-premise offering, and we have online-based, business online-based offerings, and we have the same programming paradigm that we're going to have, which will enable you to create in a uniform manner the applications that are going to be meaningful for both scenarios. Okay? Okay. The final one is about how you think about computing. Instead of building a big monolithic applications, how can you do, so this is the principle behind COM when it started. It's about how can you take small components, loosely coupled design, where you can create an application by leveraging the building blocks. So today, we are slowly realizing that vision. It's about defining a set of functionality as a component, as a service that you can do, and then defining set of functionalities that you can consume. So using basically standard-based programming models, which is where we talk about RESTful APIs, atoms and RSS feeds, and through that designing the whole model. So it's about basically, we have, as I talked about, mobile devices, desktop computers, web-based computing model, and then you have entertainment devices. So how can you, for each one of them, if we have to have different framework, different programming model, it's going to be incredibly complex, a huge learning curve for most of the people. So we have one single uniform API through .NET, and one single set of tools which can be used to target program each one of these things. So for Microsoft Silverlight is, for example, is going to be available on, not only on the desktop, on the mobile phones, which is one of the things that we are developing in India Development Center. And not only on Windows mobile phone, it will be available on cross-platform, other Nokia and other mobile phones. So the skill set that you acquire once can be incredibly useful, and you can leverage across various different device types, various different computing paradigms, on-premise versus online. So this is the power of design, where we think basically leveraging the investment that you made and taking it to the new world. This is the whole goal behind the way we are planning. So if you look at, so basically there are three targetable environments. So web-based, desktop, and then rich internet applications. The key is about, one of the things that's happening also is, given the trend towards higher level programming models, much better tools that are available. So one of the competitive advantage that people will have is about how good your user interface design is, how rich it looks, how inviting and exciting for the users it is. As definitely for when you target the consumer-based scenarios. But interestingly, what the other trend that's taking place is, even the business users are expecting similar simplicity, similar richness in application that they consume. They're saying, just because I'm a business user, I don't want it to be complex. I want to be, when I use applications at home, and if they have a lot of simplicity, why can't we have the similar, the look and feel, simplicity, ease of use and everything in an enterprise class application that I deal with? So now, user interface, UX and design is gaining a lot of importance. So one of the things that's happening is, of course, we have the, let me click through, oops. Wait. So basically we have, for desktop, we have WPF. For rich internet application, we have Silverlight, the frameworks which enables you to create very cool, exciting applications. Some of them are in the demo booth, some of them will be showcased in the talks, following the talks. But the powerful applications with an incredible amount of simplicity, you will be able to create with using the .NET tools. So with Expression Studio, so through XAML, you can design very rich looking applications very incredibly easily. So take that and then combine with the power of Visual Studio tools and .NET frameworks, which enables you to create application and marry them together. So you have the, what we call about the applications for the rich connected internet era. So one of the things that I want to talk about here is one slide on, so what are we doing in India in helping on this vision, also some of the big products that we are building. So all the core elements of a mobile developer platform, we are building out of IDC. So when we talk about that, one is the whole tools environment, which is Visual Studio for devices, that we develop fully in India Development Center. Then next we have a database for mobile devices, which is SQL Compact, which we fully develop out of IDC. Then you have basically the frameworks, XNA, .NET CF, Silverlight Mobile. So everything we do out of IDC. And when I talk about Silverlight Mobile, it's not only for Windows Mobile, for Nokia and other platforms too. Then we have the JScript that we develop fully out of IDC. So when you look at an application creation, these are the core elements. You need to have a DB, you need to have frameworks, you need to have programming language, and then you need to have tools which enables you to put all these things together and create a rich looking applications. So when you look at tools, Visual Studio for device, I don't know how many people are familiar, we have a very rich set of emulators which enable you to develop the application, test it fully without actually deploying on the mobile device. So you can basically have the same look and feel of the mobile device that you are targeting appearing on the screen, and you can basically go through the whole testing process, including simulating battery life and stuff like that. And finally, when you feel ready, then you can deploy on the real device. So that kind of rich development environment we have through this. The other one is Office Mobile. So for all the applications for a mobile device, we are doing out of IDC. This whole Office Mobile product comes out of India Development Center. It has Word, Excel, PowerPoint, OneNote, and all these features. So tomorrow there are a lot of sessions around the theme of application lifecycle management. When you look at ALM, so you basically have about starting various different phases of software development, how our products can enable that and enable you to go through each stage in a very easy manner. And then you have the suite which pulls all these products together. The suite is called Visual Studio Team System, and it includes the design, developer, testing, basically deployment, and then the foundation server, which pulls all these things together. When you look at all these verticals or elements of this Visual Studio Team System suite, testing portion is really big. It's a very big product, big business for the company, and it has all various kinds of testing, web testing, load testing, and then component testing, all kinds of testing we can do through this product. So that product is fully developed out of IDC. And tomorrow there'll be the person who runs that team will be talking about it. Then we do RFID. So this is one of the things we incubated in IDC, the whole RFID space as a company, what we should do. So we basically, as a small team, we formed here in India and then proposed a solution or platform strategy for the company and built a team, created the product, and brought it to the market last September. And so by the time we released the product to the market, we had 100 different partners of IHVs, basically reader manufacturers, tag manufacturers, and application developers, ISVs, and then system integrators, Wipro, Infosys, all these major players are basically as part of the partner ecosystem, and then many big customers. So we build a whole ecosystem of this 100+ people around this platform technologies. And then we recently announced the mobile version of BizTalk Server RFID. Then the other product that I want to highlight is the Data Protection Manager product that we developed. We released two versions, second version of this last year. And with the second version, we'll be able to protect all Windows-based line of business servers. Basically, I'm talking about file servers, Exchange server, database server, SharePoint, and then all the virtual environments. The whole Windows server infrastructure and environment, we are able to protect with this product. To give you an idea how good quality this product is of. So when you look at Microsoft, we have more than 100 different subsidiaries across the world. So it's a big enterprise. Microsoft internally is a big enterprise. So in Microsoft, we have the IT group, which basically what we call dog food this product. And at the time of the release, 20,000 mailboxes of Microsoft employees are protected by this product at the time of the release. So that's the kind of quality we were able to deliver from India. At a high level, what we took, our vision is about driving the global business growth of Microsoft, and also we have a focus on incubating for the emerging markets. Thank you.